Local and live. Covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Welcome back to Let's Talk TriState. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are pleased to have some friends from CTU Mobile Diagnostics today. They are the founders and owners. We have Chris and Tina Uglow. Welcome,
Hello.
folks. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Now, I have heard of CTU Mobile Diagnostics before, and when I first did some research for your company, I thought, wow, that is an amazing idea. That is probably a very needed service. And I'm not going to take over why I think it is needed. I want you guys to explain that. Now, before we get there, Chris, I'd like for you to take us through the beginnings of CTU Mobile Diagnostics. You had this vision, this dream, this idea. How did that all come about?
It actually started in our kitchen at our house.
Okay.
We were always talking about how we could help the community, and Tina was actually making tacos one night, and she looked over and she goes, I think I know an idea. So the concept of being a mobile lab, it just kind of started right there.
Okay. Did you have a background before, Tina? You come up with this idea. Was there a phlebotomy background?
There is a phlebotomy, and I've been in the medical field for 27 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And this just dawned on you. What made you say there may be a need for this? Because it's kind of it is a risk.
It is. So if you look nationwide, mobile phlebotomy is everywhere now.
Mm-hmm.
We're a tech moving nation, world moving forward, and it's a much needed service here because this is a rural area, and it's hard to get out of places in general.
Okay.
And then if you add a disability or a diagnosis, a chronic illness on top of that, it makes it that much harder. So instead of having to waste an entire day, we can come to you.
Now, how does this process work? If someone is just now hearing about mobile diagnostics, they may say, well, is there a qualification for it? Is it just a matter of a phone call or setting up an appointment? How does that work?
So you can book directly online at ctumobilediagnostics.com.
Okay.
You could also book right on our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok page, and you could call us. You could even text. We make it very simple for people. Our website is very simple and straightforward with our services and what we do. I think this is for everybody, but who we really target are those who can't get out of their house.
Right. I think we've moved very much so into we've always been a convenient society, things that, we just, I can't get out of the office. I'm so busy, I'm so slammed. And that may not necessarily be who your primary demographic is, but certainly as someone who could benefit is just, I need this done, but I am so busy.
Right.
I'm sure you don't call and ask questions about someone's occupation, and they don't have to have a disability in order to use your service. Is that correct?
Exactly. It's for anybody, whether you're just a regular everyday individual that gets a once-a-year blood test, if you're a busy professional that gets up super early, we're there. We can meet you at your office, your home, senior care facility, wherever you're most comfortable.
Now, is your company something that a lot of our local doctor's offices know about and can recommend, or is that something you struggled with?
That is something that we struggle with, is getting the word out in general. Because we're the first mobile lab in central Pennsylvania, that's a big deal.
Sure.
It's a lot of pressure. And to reach everybody, not everybody is on social media. Not everybody gets out of their house a lot. Not everybody watches TV or streaming networks.
Right.
So how do you do that? And like you mentioned with the doctor's office, we've been to every day. We are not afraid to knock on doors.
Sure, right. When typically, too, is that a person is not generally just sitting in their home and decides, I need blood work, I need lab work. They're recommended by a physician that, you came in either for your general checkup or haven't seen you in 20 years, but either way, let's get a lab workup. And that would be the perfect time for you for them to slip that card to them and say, look, if it's difficult for you to get out of the house, or we know you're ailing, here you go. Call CTU Mobile Diagnostics, and then they'll come take care of it, top to bottom, start to finish. So I think we've established who benefits the most from this. Take us through the process, Tina. So if let's say the patient is me. I go online, ctumobilediagnostics.com. I fill out all the information. I'm assuming there's an availability of dates, kind of like if I'm booking you?
Yeah, you can do that, and you can also book your own phlebotomist.
Okay.
So on our website, there are little bios of our wellness specialists, and if there is one more that you may resonate with, you can choose that staff member.
Okay.
Yep. It's super easy. We have flexibility 7 days a week. We are open from 5 a.m. super early to 2 p.m. We also do Saturdays and Sundays, 7 to 12. Yeah.
And so when I book this, and I almost think that I have utilized, perhaps not, I think I've utilized a mobile diagnostic service before. I was applying, and see if this resonates with you. I was applying for life insurance, and the life insurance company sent a mobile diagnostic company to my house.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's something that you would also
It is.
do.
It
Okay.
is.
Do you see a lot of that?
We do insurance companies, private companies. We do a lot of pre-employment drug and alcohol testing.
Okay.
That's super important. DNA swabbing. We can do gender reveal testing, and we can test you without a doctor's order.
Okay.
We do have a medical director on staff, and that allows us to do a basic wellness panel
Okay.
to kind of establish a baseline. By no means is it a diagnosis,
Sure.
but it's a start, and you can take that to a physician.
Right, absolutely. Because I think everyone knows, like we said, we haven't seen you in 20 years. You
Right.
know, if you go to the doctors, you're going to need lab
Blood,
work. That's
exactly.
one of the first
Minimum.
things they're going to want to do.
Exactly.
Why not have it done and over with,
Yeah.
that part out of the equation? So back to what I was saying. So I book your service. How does this work? You give me a text, you give me a call, say we're here, you ring the doorbell, or how does that work? And then
So we use SquareUp, which is a great, I guess, transactional tool.
Okay.
And it emails and text messages you
All right.
like crazy, just like they all do now. And you have the choice of whether email or text or both, and it confirms up to the day before and then the morning of. And another cool feature is that I'll send a note over to let you know who the staff member is and what vehicle they drive.
Got you. Okay. Very good. Very safe.
Yes,
Okay.
very
All
safe.
those questions are answered.
Yes.
So the phlebotomist comes in, and they, as the only thing that happened. And I asked this because when the insurance company sent the mobile diagnostic team to me, it was one person. Not only did they do blood work, but they checked my weight and took my blood pressure. Is that something that you also do, or is it only blood panels?
We can do that.
Okay.
We are certified to do that. So if you need blood pressure, if you need your weight checked,
Great.
if you just need basic vitals, just because we can do that for you.
That is wonderful. Wow.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the payment model. You said you have SquareUp, which is your transactional model. A lot of folks who are listening or watching may be thinking about this very question that I'm about to ask.
Yes.
Well, what about insurance? I have insurance. How does that work with CTU Mobile Diagnostics?
Okay, so we are a private pay company.
Okay.
So we do not take insurance. The reason we don't is because to deal with insurance adjusters and insurance in general is very limiting, and there's a lot of red tape.
Sure.
So to eliminate that and to allow us to answer to you, the client, and to spend maybe that extra 5 or 10 minutes that you may need, if you wanted to have a cup of coffee with us or talk about, your grandkids' softball game, we're there for you. We actually, myself, I did have a patient and she couldn't barely walk, an older lady, and I went and got her mail for her down at the end of her long, mile-long driveway.
Insurance
and
ain't
drove
gonna
it
cover
back.
that.
Exactly,
Right? Yeah.
and that's the personal touch. To us, you're not a number like you are in a waiting room.
Yeah.
We can be personal, and we want to be personal, and that's what sets us apart from any other clinical laboratory.
Now, none of this, though, precludes the patient from submitting this to insurance. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I will provide a super bill that you can submit to your insurance for a possible reimbursement.
Okay, and I know a lot of times blood work is covered by insurance, so there's probably a good chance that, obviously can't speak with any efficacy here, but
Right.
that there's a good chance that though they might kick back something to you and say, well, you needed blood work and needed it done. It was doctor's order, so
Yeah, of course.
you go.
And we also do take flexible spending account cards
Okay.
and health savings account cards, which I think are great because a lot of people forget that pre-tax money is on there.
Right.
And if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, you don't want to do that.
No.
So as we become more convenient with our healthcare, and healthcare, I think, was that last bastion of convenience. Everything else in our lives, especially since COVID, has been how do we get it to the consumer versus the consumer coming to us. It was during COVID. It was food delivery. Obviously, with CTU Mobile Diagnostics, it is taking the lab work or taking the
lab
draws
to you.
to you.
Yeah.
And where do you see this going in healthcare? I'm sure for you personally, you want this everywhere because you want CTU to be the name that people think of when it comes to having mobile lab work. But how do you see this? Obviously, it'll be positive, but affecting and meshing with healthcare.
I think that it already has, and it is on the rise. I do know there's a lot of medical journals, and by 2030, mobile diagnostic imaging, mobile phlebotomy, mobile services in general are up like 225%.
Yeah.
So convenience is just taking over. I think it's a convenience that some people really need because, there's needle anxiety, again, chronic conditions, diagnoses, that just prevent you from everyday life. So why put another obstacle in front of you when we can be there to help eliminate it?
Well, I think back to, it was a big deal when one of the local healthcare systems years ago had a mobile MRI unit.
Yes.
But it took a big rig to pull. It was a trailer.
Oh, yeah.
So we think mobile, wow, this is going to come to mind. Well, it's not going to fit down your street.
Right.
But now things have gotten so much smaller because what they had to wind up doing with that was literally parking it next to the hospital and building into it where that became the unit for the MRI because they just couldn't take it around all these different places. But the point is to what you were saying, all of these diagnostics are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to where a mobile X-ray unit now is practically, it takes up the space of, maybe half of the inside of a car.
Yeah,
something to
not
that effect.
even. Yeah,
Right.
like a mobile stand with a computer on it.
Right.
That's about it, yeah.
Exactly. So those types of things I can see becoming very common. And they probably, what's funny is we hear about these things and say, well, in New York City, they've been doing that for forever. Yeah. And those things are trickling down to us. And you guys are at the forefront of that, and we're so glad that we have you. CTUMobileDiagnostics.com, that's the website. Get in touch with Chris and Tina. They will earn your trust, earn your business for sure. And is there anything, I always like to ask this of all of our guests when Let's Talk TriState, is there anything in our time together today that we did not touch on that you wanted to make sure that we did?
I just want to let those of you who are not able to get out of your home and don't know that this service exists, we're here, and we cover all of central Pennsylvania and Washington County and Maryland.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, Tina, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate that. Wish you all the best and love to have you back, okay?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Maybe one day you can get it clear with somebody and you can take me with you while this happens and maybe we film a little bit if the patient's okay with that.
We do that all the time.
I love it.
Yes,
Let's do that. That'd be a lot of fun. Appreciate that.
That sounds fun.
All right. And as always, we thank you so much for joining us on Let's Talk TriState.
Let's talk TriState.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TriState, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.